People power growth, but recruiting and onboarding are expensive, exhausting, and absolutely overwhelming. I've been there, and it doesn't have to be this way. Welcome to Hire and Empower. I'm your host, Molly McGrath. Join me as we interview leaders who care about their teams and distill powerful lessons from them. This show is sponsored by H&E, helping organizations to find their best hire and empower them for success. Learn more at hiringandempowering.com. Okay, listeners, today we are talking about marketing. Everybody loves to talk about marketing. I see y'all on Facebook and LinkedIn and all the social places flying all over the country, paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in travel and hotels and event prices for marketing tips, techniques, strategy, what have you. I see your P&Ls of when we go through them of how much money you're spending on marketing agencies, what have you. And then when I ask you about your results and who's doing what, it's like crickets. So today I am so excited to have Trusty Oak here and to have my dear friend and fellow EOA alumni. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that after of how you built your business, $1 million business on VAs, and really talk about, lead into your model. But we have Amber Gray here today, and I'm so excited. When we met and before we recorded, just talking about marketing execution mistakes. You have a VA business. So you're going to tell us a little bit about your business. And then I want you to let's dive into unapologetically. Like, this is a podcast that we swear on. We say hard things. We say the truth. We're unapologetic because we care so much about clients having what they need. Entrepreneurs, as we all know, we've been there. You're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. Before we started recording, we talked about our growth and just, hiring people, losing people, executing strategy, all the good things. So Amber, welcome, and give us a little commercial. Tell us a little bit about your business model.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Molly. I'm excited to be here, and I love that this is unapologetic. I like getting to the meat of things and really talking about the things that people don't want to talk about. But
Yes.
as that introduction goes, I founded Trusty Oak in 2015. We have all U.S. based virtual assistants. So in some ways, we're really a double-sided marketplace in that we are serving freelance virtual assistants by helping them get matched with their ideal clients. And then on the other side of that, we have entrepreneurs that are looking for fractional support, may not be ready for, a part-time or full-time hire in any of their departments, but they've got this and that all over the place. And a virtual assistant is a great solution for being able to support you in administrative or marketing-based tasks that can help you grow at the pace that you're ready to grow. So we fill a lot of those holes in the more general ways, but also as the title alludes to, we are there to get things done. So,
And all US based.
that's right.
Tell our listeners, because this fascinated me when you shared with me, what percentage of applicants do you actually accept and take on as your VAs?
We're running around 4% of applicants that we actually welcome into the community.
That's amazing. So your vetting process is no joke, huh?
It really isn't. It's not for the faint of heart. And honestly, it's like that on purpose because we want people that are serious about freelancing. There are a lot of people that freelance, quote unquote, in between jobs. They may be picking up, projects here and there. We're not looking for folks that are in it just for quick projects to get them from one job to another. We're looking for people that really see the value in freelancing long term, and they aren't sure where to start, and they may have the experience, but not necessarily that experience in going out and chasing down clients and finding people that they really want to work with and highlighting the skills that they have. So we help them with that by really just being the brand that is trusted by many entrepreneurs and helping those virtual assistants get matched with meaningful work.
Meaningful work. And we are speaking, first time we spoke, and then again, right before we hit record. Talk to us about what you see. So, entrepreneurs come to you or find you in some way, shape, or fashion. No lack of strategy. They have all these beautiful marketing plans that they've paid thousands of dollars for, maybe multiple that they've gotten either created or coaches, and then they're coming to you because they're not able to execute. What are the mistakes you see with marketing, implementation, execution, just getting into action?
Well, I think a lot of it is just that they don't get they have short-sighted vision. They're not looking past that strategy of what is actually going to need to happen in order for this to be an effective strategy for us. You talk about ROI, and the strategist, whoever made it for you, is probably talking about those things. But if you are planning on executing that strategy yourself, you may not be thinking about who is actually putting their attention on this. And if you do have someone paying attention to it, are they really skilled in the right areas? Do they have the time? Is this the second priority for them in addition to maybe a sales role or some other type of role within the company? And I think a lot of times that people think marketing is going to take less time, and so they just piggyback it onto someone else's job description, and it may not be getting done as consistently as what it needs to be. So having someone dedicated to it is really important. And having fractional people to be able to execute on that is really helpful too.
And I love that when you say fractional people, because as you are speaking, in my experience, so there's no shortage of an idea. Calling, we know we need to get additional leads. We're going to launch this whole digital plan. Maybe it's a workshop or a master class or a webinar or whatever terminology people use, what have you. And then they'll just give it to the marketing person. To your point, they might have additional jobs with whatever. But what I love about what I saw on your website, the profiles that you have for every person within your organization and within your community, that I think a lot of people don't begin with the end in mind, that we do need a video. Okay, great. You're going to record this webinar, but someone's going to have to edit it. And that's where I always hear that, like, the buck stops, because we don't have a video editor. Now we have to go on this witch hunt on the World Wide Web or marketing groups that we may or may not know people in. And I think that's why the strategy and why there's so much stop start, fits and starts, and why people can't deploy their actual strategy from start to finish. Or they'll give it to someone and they're not the video expert or the copyright experts, or they're not social content curation and creation experts. And they spend so much time either trying to figure it out, or they do, and then when they do figure it out, we judge it from a place of, well, it's better than what we were doing before, so let's just throw it out there, right? And then we don't get our results, and then we say, we tried that and it didn't work.
Yes, I hear we tried it and it didn't work a lot of times. But there is a lot of work that goes into, I mean, you mentioned webinars. We do a monthly webinar, and there are so many steps that go into preparing for that. And we usually partner with an external person that we call in as our expert, and we share consider it a co-branded event. There's a lot going into getting interviews beforehand to find out, okay, what are we talking about? What are the takeaways? Oh, we need to schedule this. We need to create a landing page to register. We need to make sure it's promoted on social media, email blast, etc. And all of those things aren't really what I think we don't think about it all the time whenever we launch out and say, oh, okay, yeah, we're going to start a monthly webinar. That seems like an easy thing to do. But all those steps require someone to really walk it through. And really, it's administrative. A lot of that is administrative work. You don't necessarily need your top marketing professional managing all of those steps. A virtual assistant is a great person to be able to, pull all the pieces together. I have someone bringing it all together where all I do is show up with the guest, and we plan together, and then we show up together to present the webinar, maybe record some social media videos, and that's about it. But I couldn't do that without some help.
I think people talk, and I love that you said a virtual assistant, because I think my perspective is that a lot of times I watch all the comments in these, by and large, I deal with law firms, And historically, they're very fearful of marketing. They have the bar association, what have you. We've debunked those myths. Now I see attorneys out there more than ever marketing, but I think there's so much confusion. It's like voodoo in the terminology and what has to happen, especially in the digital space around marketing. And to your point, and what I love about your model is people will just say, oh, go get a VA to do that. Oh, just go get a VA to do that. And I think they feel if they hire a VA, a virtual assistant, that magically this one person that you hire knows how to do everything and anything, even when you're lacking the clarity as a business owner, when you're confused about the term, because there's a lot of different, CTA, like all the different terminologies, SEO, SMO, like it's all confusing. Pay per click isn't pay per click the same as a Facebook ad. Like there's a lot. There's a
Yes.
lot. There's a lot. So when you use the word VA, and what would be your drive-by coaching for our listeners, especially in the marketing space and you know what, and in the admin space? Because I don't know, I'd love your perspective on this, but as I just said that out loud, I don't know that you can have a marketing agent, marketing initiatives or a marketing assistant without a traditional or just even an admin assistant. I think they go hand in hand. And I think a lot of times people will hire just a VA and not have that line of delineation between administrative. As I just said that, I'm like, that's another problem, an execution problem. They'll hire marketing people to do X, Y, and Z, but then they're lacking I'm going to use the word like project manager for a lack of a better term, an administrative assistant to couple with that. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, when we list our jobs for virtual assistants on our website, we have two categories: marketing virtual assistant and administrative virtual assistant. And the reason it's different is because, yeah, there are a lot of virtual assistants out there, but their specialties are wide, it's a wide range of skill set represented. I mean, some of them might even be a bookkeeping virtual assistant or an executive assistant virtual assistant. There's all these different, we'll say, brands of VAs out there. So depending on your specific needs, you want to make sure you've got somebody with the skill set that aligns with what they're going to be executing. So for us, I mean, it's coming to mind a case study that I shared with you before with one of our clients, Scott Dust. He
Yes,
started.
we're going to put it in the show notes, guys.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So Scott started out with he's wanting to elevate his speaking. He's wanting to create educational content online. He's got some full-time jobs, contract jobs. He's very busy. He's working on some books, doing different things, but he needed someone to help him with branding for his website. So that's how the project started. We matched him with someone with graphic design experience that could help him with writing as well. And they worked on this website project for some time. And then he realized, I really want to start putting these videos out on social media, and I need a video editor. That VA could do video editing as well, but she wasn't available for more effort. So we found a video editing specialist virtual assistant to add to the team. So then he's got somebody with the branding on the graphic design side, creating, the standalone social media graphics, those kinds of things. And then another one that's doing the video editing. A little bit later, he realizes, I need someone to just keep things on track. I need an administrative person to help with that flow. So now he's got Lauren, Tyler, and Annika on his team, and they've been working together now. Well, collectively, Scott's been with us, I think, maybe just over a year now. And all of these different people on his team have their own marching orders. They do their own thing, and together, all of those different, that collaboration wins. And that's what we say. We have our core values are something that we really focus on through the business, and one of them is collaboration always wins. And so the whole model is centered around this idea of collaborating to get things done.
And I even love, so how many people on that Scott's team?
So there's three on his team.
Three, which you just, case in point, literally with this case study, is you just gave the perfect example of how it could have went really, really wrong, or he would not have accomplished his goals and kept leveling up. Now I want to add video. Now I want to have this, which is the definition of growth, because he has proof of concept, hire one virtual assistant. and start getting the ball rolling. And even with your facilitation and your business model, saying, oh, time out. Nope. We got to bring in an expert video person. Nope. Now we got to bring in an expert in this skill set. And as you're talking, it's like, all right, attorneys, you would never, you get so mad when your clients come to you if you're a divorce attorney and now they're asking you to handle your bankruptcy. There's nothing different in how in your model, in this model that we're saying, wouldn't you only want to work with experts in their niche, in their zone of genius? So 3 people, right? Not all full-time, all on a very fractional model, but on a very, very, very crystal clear path for their unique ability of what they do and being able to accomplish his goals.
Exactly. He's using those 3 people, I think around 20 hours per month. So he's not
Total?
even total. He's not even spending, he's spending less than $1,000 a month for that kind of support, specialized. And that's the thing too. When people are working in their zone of genius, they are more effective. They're going to get things done better, faster. All of those things kind of come into play. So you're optimizing your efficiency. It's on steroids when you have these fractional experts that you can say, okay, you do this, you do this, you do that, and now I know that I'm only doing this. Everybody's happy because they're doing the work that they are really great at and they enjoy, and it's all working together for one big, beautiful orchestra, I guess you could say.
Oh, I love that. Um, as you were talking, Amber, I'm sitting here thinking of the value of our listeners hopping on a discovery call with you because you do know the powerful questions to ask when they say, okay, here's what I need. And they sort of do the junk drawer dump to you. Here's all the things that I need. You can facilitate it, put it in admin bucket, marketing bucket, but then most people put marketing in a bucket and just assume, and then you can distill it down based on skill set. So knowing the powerful questions, and I love this fractional model, 3 people to accomplish his marketing goals, to accomplish his goals for under $1,000 a month.
Right, right. Yeah, that's the name of the whole. I mean, the model is designed for people that want to just get what they need, get the support they need, and really not have to worry too much about anything after that point.
Yes. What would be some of your drive-by coaching? What would be your nuggets that you would leave for our listeners today in regards to if you have a marketing execution, implementation problem, what have you? Here are some things, some questions to ask yourself, some questions to ask the people that you're currently, assigning or paying or delegating the marketing to figure out why you have an execution problem.
Yeah, I would ask them first of all, what do they like to do, and what do they think they're great at? Because if they're gonna share something with you, and it may be something completely different from what you're actually delegating to them. So understanding what they like and what they think they're good at is a start. If you're just throwing things to them and hoping that they do know how to do it, that may be where your problem is, because they're going to figure it out. If they're a good virtual assistant, or really anyone you're delegating to, if they're resourceful, they may figure it out, but that doesn't mean they're going to be the best person to do the job. So if you find out what they like to do, what they're good at, give them those tasks, and then wherever your gaps are, look for somebody else that likes those things. And again, that's why, in the example I gave, we have people doing the exact work that they love to do, and it all works together.
And I would say, as you said that, I could hear, especially if you have somebody who might not be in the right role, what do you like to do? Well, I love to do marketing. Okay, well, what
That's
does that
specific. Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
What does that mean for you? And as you were talking, I'm just thinking of some of the firms I know that they have so and so doing this in marketing. And really, I can imagine going and asking that question, what part of marketing do you like? And figuring it out and really paying attention to that and keep asking and distilling the questions. Also, I was thinking as you were talking, if you're giving somebody a project, have them reflect back to you of check in with them and have them reflect back to you so you can really pay attention for how clear you were in your goals when you were giving the direction, because we always have to take ownership and just assume people are doing the best that they can with the information they're given. So maybe that might be a great way to audit your goals, your projects that you've given to people, and have them reflect, what do you believe the goal of this is and what are your next steps with this? I think that would be really interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, understanding where you're going is absolutely critical for anybody. So if the person you're delegating to doesn't understand the why or the outcome that you're looking for, they may think they're doing a great job executing the task that you've given them. But if they understand, okay, this is the outcome that I'm looking for, how can we get there? People are just, that's the way our brains work. We need some guidance of where are we going in order to take that right step. And I've seen this a lot. We talk about the 5 levels of delegation, which is just a way to communicate what you're delegating. What level is it? Level 1 is do this exactly as this process is documented. Don't deviate from it. I already trust this process. Do it this way. That's level 1. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got level 5 that's take care of this. You don't even need to report back to me. You're letting me know, I know this is done because I trust you. There's, the different levels in between. And sometimes, you may be wanting someone to do something on, say, level 3, which I think is where you're actually solving the problem and then coming back to me, showing me some options, and then I'm making a selection for you. But that virtual assistant might be thinking you want them operating on level 2, which is where they just are putting the research in front of you and you're making the decision. You need to be able to communicate, like, what is my expectation? Because that's really where people get hung up a lot, is not being aligned in expectation and communication.
Oh, that is powerful. 5 levels of, I'm even thinking people, again, saying we tried that and it didn't work. I hired a virtual assistant in the past and it didn't work because they're constant. I hear this all the time. They're constantly delegating back up to me. I give them direction and then they wouldn't be able to take it from start to finish. And thank you for this little, I'm going to dive into this 5 levels of
I can
delegation.
also send you a PDF if you want to put that in the show notes. We've got a little, like a one pager that explains how to use it.
Oh, yes, that would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's not something that we created just to say out loud. It's adapted from something from the Harvard Business Review, which that says it right on the document, but
Yes.
just for those listening.
Oh my goodness, I love that. I'm going to absolutely put that in the show notes. So, and real quick before we close, I would love, I know we were chatting, you built your business on virtual assistants, right? Tell
I
our
did.
listeners, because you're speaking into entrepreneurial land
Yeah.
here, and for leaders that are overwhelmed that are listening to this, employees, what have you, and your attorney keeps dropping or your entrepreneur keeps dropping work on your desk that you can't get to, bring them to trustyoak.com and book an appointment, because tell us how you built your business on VAs.
Thank you. Well, I was the first virtual assistant, but from day one, I always wanted to grow it into something bigger. So the model was there for, to create the jobs for freelancers and to really get entrepreneurs the people that they need for the, specialized areas that they're looking for. When I first started in 2015, I had virtual assistants doing virtually everything for me. Blog post writing, social media, helping me with administrative stuff, hiring, writing job listings. I mean, everyone was a virtual assistant at some point in the business, and then eventually I was able to hire some of those virtual assistants to my corporate team because I could see that they caught the vision of the the bigger picture of where we're going. So right now, my corporate team, there's only two or three people that have not been a virtual assistant first. So my social media and graphic designer is actually the VA I was talking about that helps Scott. She's also our social media manager. So I've been able to start with VAs, just get the support I need, a couple hours here and there for, let's say, ghostwriting a blog post for me, or pitching me to get featured on podcasts. We do that sometimes too. Or, there's all kinds of different ways that you can plug in somebody to help you advance to the next level. And so I've grown that $1 million in July. I was excited to finally hit that 12 month rolling 1 million for the first time ever. And to think that I did that on the shoulders of many virtual assistants that have become just super valuable to my team. It's pretty surreal, honestly, because we are a small scrappy team, bootstrapped. There's no investors around here, nothing like that. It's just us working really hard and doing that usually 10 to 20 hours a month at a time.
I love it. 10 to 20 hours a month at a time. I love that. That might be the title of this thing.
Awesome.
Your proof of concept, right?
Yeah, I mean, I take my own medicine is what I like to tell people. And I have a virtual assistant that clears my inbox every morning and helps me make sure I have buffers on my in-person coffee meetings, making sure the travel time is built in. And so I'm making sure I'm not, feeling embarrassed because I double booked myself or didn't show up for something. So if nothing else, it helps me feel like a more professional entrepreneur, I guess. And even though behind the scenes I might be a little scattered and, feel like I'm juggling everything, they help me show up and look good. And I feel good when I am, in a meeting or in a podcast interview or whatever it may be, because I'm able to be fully present, knowing that there are other people taking care of the things that I don't want to have to do.
Yeah, not your unique ability at any stretch of the means at all.
Yes, exactly.
So tell our listeners, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, you can email me, amber@trustyoak.com. You can also go to trustyoak.com. There's all kinds of information, including our pricing. We publish that, which is different from a lot of other companies out there. You have to set up calls to get the pricing. And we have our virtual assistant bios. So you mentioned that earlier.
I love it. It's my favorite part.
Yeah, you don't even actually see a real virtual assistant on most of the other companies that are out there for whatever reason. But we put their profile out there. You can see exactly what their top skills are, the things that they want to do, the kind of background that they have. And it's almost like shopping, but it's not quite like that, because if you said, oh, I'd really like to work with Kristen, but then you tell us your needs are, something different from what we know Kristen is great at, we're going to be honest with you about that and say, okay, yeah, Kristen might be a great fit for you, but also how about Kristen does these tasks for you and we get, Tyler over here for these other projects. So we'll guide you through a process of figuring out who is the right person for the job, what should you be delegating. Sometimes we get stuck, because that's the other thing. As entrepreneurs, we don't like to let things go. So we need help with the actual act of delegating. So we help you with that too.
I love that you have everybody's profiles out there. You have your pricing, which is so transparent. And I forgot to you come from a agency background too, right?
I did. Yes. I worked 5 years at a marketing agency before I started Trusty Oak, but I was the operations person.
Yes. Oh, good. So now you really have an appreciation for it, because it's a big piece of it versus just all the creation and the creativity, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I love that you
I
can bring
admire it. Yeah, exactly. It's like I love and I've learned a lot through marketing too. I think marketing is fun, and it's a fun challenge to work on in all the different ways. Maybe not video editing, that's not my thing, but I do enjoy that creative side of things. But I'm also the kind of person that likes to find the pattern and, okay, how can we make this a process that repeats over and over again with a lot more, just streamlined efficiency. That's what I get excited about.
No. And I can't help but to imagine that you bring that to your VAs as well, that background, that organization, the project management, because that's a piece that's typically lacking. I don't want to say missing in marketing.
Yeah, it really is. That's really a separate role. And when you hire an agency, you might actually get work with a project manager. An agency probably has somebody that's an account manager, for example, and then they've got someone else that's creating content, writing content for you, and someone else that's maybe reading the data behind how it's going. So even in the agency model, you've got different people serving different needs, but sometimes that may be more expensive than what you want to spend. And this is an alternative to that, because you can still kind of get that fractional focus from
Yep.
someone that doesn't necessarily have to be the agency price tag.
Yes, I love that. Oh, Amber, thank you for being our guest today. Greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. It was great to be here. Thanks so much.
We've reached the end of another impactful conversation on the Hire and Empower podcast. Whether this was your first episode or you're a longtime listener, I know you can tell I have passion for people. Whether you're a business owner, employee, executive, or hiring manager, I understand the situation you're in. Hiring, onboarding, and leadership is expensive, exhausting, overwhelming, and if that's not enough, it's also time consuming. My friends, it doesn't have to be this way. There is a team at H&E that has your back. For over 25 years, they've transformed over 4,000 law firms into efficient, effective, profitable assets for their business and made it fun to come to work again. Check out our Smart Hire solution, our employee leadership program, and the 66-day law firm turnaround at hiringandempowering.com.